The answer is always, always inside of you.
Hello, I'm James Kay, and welcome to the first in an occasional series of 20-minute chats that I'm going to have with people who live in our great city. And I'm going to call this series Manchester People. And my very first guest is going to introduce herself now.
Hi, I'm Medea Sosin.
Hello, Medea.
Hi.
Now, it's fair to say you're 30 years old, but you've packed an awful lot into your life. Tell us where it all started for you.
When I was 7, I moved to the UK to be with my dad. My dad was already here, and just a brief. My dad was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 13, and then he passed away within a year. Soon after he passed away, my mum fell ill.
It's a lot to deal with at that age, isn't it? So,
yes.
I mean, looking back on it, how on earth did you cope?
Oh, I don't know. I still don't know. So, becoming a carer at the age of 14, it was like my world was falling apart. It was like everything was crumbling around me. I did not know where to go, who to turn to. We didn't have any family support nearby, and I'm the only child.
And how did it affect your schooling?
Oh, quite a lot, because I was caring for my mum and my dad. I was in and out of school, so I barely passed my GCSEs.
And looking back on it, how do you reflect on that time? I mean, you must have seen your fellow students all just leading a normal childhood, and there you were in such a difficult situation. How do you reflect on that looking back?
At that time, I thought it was just me getting past every day. I didn't even think about my peers or my friends around me. I was just it was just trying to take it one step at a time.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Were you at all resentful of the fact that you had this enormous burden and your friends were just leading a normal childhood?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was like, I was really angry. It was like, why did it have to happen to me? And why, everyone. There were times when I used to just play football and to get my mind off things. So it was a rough. It was like
Yeah. And how much has it shaped the person you are today? Do you think that
Oh, I think a lot. Yeah, quite a lot. I mean, I keep telling everyone this. Those hard times made me the person I am today. If I didn't have those hard times, I would probably be just a person who's just a normal person. Well, not a person. Not that people aren't normal, but like just a person who wouldn't. If I had everything, I wouldn't be able to make the changes that I'm making now.
Because it's fair to say that you suffered from crippling anxiety and depression from quite an early age. And how did you manage to break out of that cycle? Because how many years did that carry on for?
For about over 13, 14 years.
So how did you break out of that? Because that's an amazing thing. I bet at the time it must have seemed like an endless tunnel. So how did you manage to make changes in your life?
Right. So 3 years ago, I experienced what they call an out-of-body experience. At that time, I had no knowledge of what the out-of-body experience is. And since that experience, I went from a person who couldn't leave the house without having panic attacks to doing everything, to socializing and helicopter rides.
Can you put your finger on what triggered that? What we might call an OBE?
Nothing. Nothing. It was just a normal day, and I was just laying on my bed, and all of a sudden I felt a vibration within my body, and it felt like something popped out. And it's a long story, so if you want me to go into deeply, I wouldn't.
Well, I think it's just I think the listeners will be fascinated to hear about this, but just tell us briefly what it felt like at the time.
At the time when I was having that experience, I felt like I said, when I felt like something popped out, I ended up in this place where everything was white, and within the white light there was beams of light, and from my understanding, it was like a soul standing there without any physical appearance. And when I was in that state, I felt there was so much. I felt I was home. I felt I was surrounded by unconditional love, was something that I've never felt in this physical world. And then and I went up to one light, and it turned into the face of my dad. And he just smiled, and he said to me, "Everything is okay. Don't worry." And as soon as he said that, I just felt like the unconditional love that I just never experienced before in my life.
So this was a truly transformational moment.
Yeah.
You literally, having been through 13 or 14 years of this anxiety and depression, this one experience really changed everything.
Changed every single thing. Like that week was just insane. I thought I was going insane because I have no knowledge of what was going on. But yeah, like I said, from a person who couldn't even leave the house to doing everything really.
And what did that lead on to? What particular path did you follow, having sort of almost been freed from that prison that you were in?
Yeah.
Where did that lead you?
I felt there was something changed inside me that night. That was the final, it was like I don't know how to explain it, but people ask me, they keep asking me, but I don't know how to explain it. That's like a life-changing thing, but it just led on to that. What I say is about the inner. It was more of a sense of the inner knowing that everything is okay, and I just ended up, like I said, going on helicopter rides. Helicopter ride, I'm saying it as an adrenaline junkie. Helicopter ride, and then it led to me becoming a motivational speaker.
But it really led to you looking very much into the whole field of personal development. Give us an idea of the sort of personal development that you undertook.
Right, so I surrounded myself. I took out, somehow I just knew that I needed to sort of go within to heal those emotional baggage that I was holding for 15 years, which a lot of what I believe is a lot of in our society, a lot of people, when something happens, they run away from things. Rather than sitting with themselves and healing it, dealing with it, we run away from things. That's what I did for so many years, and part of the reason why I had so much anxiety. So every single day I would sit down and I would just put my hand on my heart and just ask myself two questions. How are you feeling today? Are you okay? And every time I kept asking these questions, the things that I was suppressing for more than 15 years came up for me to heal one by one. Everything about my mom, my dad, my rough childhood.
And in terms of the actual development itself, I mean, it almost sounds like a sort of spiritual journey that you were on, but on a sort of practical level, what sort of, did you do any courses, or did you? No. It was all just internal.
It was just internal. It was like I just knew what to do, and I think we're all capable of that. We're just not aware of it. I'm not really religious or anything. I'm just spiritual, but we wouldn't. It's a beautiful thing once you start basically knowing who you are.
And at what stage did you decide to use this to try and inspire other people who perhaps had gone through similar experiences?
Right. So I'll tell you a short story. One of my friends who's an actress, it's like, I get stage fright, so I want to be a public speaker. I was like, what's public speaking? And she's like, well, you go on stage and you talk. And I was like, oh, I thought it's just a conference thing. While we were talking about public speaking, these two guys popped out of the building, started talking about public speaking. I was like, okay, that's a universal sign for me to do something about, So I just ended up, researching about public speaking, taking numerous courses about public speaking, and I ended up giving a live inspirational talk to about over 100 people.
And that must have been quite daunting if you'd spent 13 years basically in the house to suddenly be talking in front of 100 people. How did that feel?
To be honest, everyone keeps asking me this, but I wasn't nervous at all. On my first talk, I was not nervous at all. I just got up on the day. I was just chilled. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this talk, and I got my everything ready. It was like, and then even standing for them to call my name to the stage, I was like, okay, and just walked very casually. Wasn't nervous at all. No panicking. Nothing. It was like I was channeling that amazing energy that I felt in that state.
And what response did you get from the audience?
Oh, it was amazing. It was
really
amazing. At the end of it, they were coming up to me and they were telling me that how much of my story inspired them to make a change, and they just, some of them were just even coming and taking pictures. I was like, oh my God, don't take pictures.
You felt like a celebrity, did you?
Yeah. It kind of felt good at first, but it was like, okay, stay grounded, stay humble. It's good.
Yeah. And have you been able to keep in touch with some of the people that you've inspired?
I got their numbers, and we talk now and then. But I've been going to other events, any event really, personal development events.
And what sort of impact do you think you'll have made on people's lives? Do you really feel that you're making a difference?
Some days I feel like I don't, but some days it's just the amount of love and support that people, even when there's something amazing happening in my life, the amount of support that they give me and love they give me, and I feel overwhelmed.
So you feel blessed in a sense that
really,
yeah. So I mean the transformation from where you were at, throughout much of your childhood and your adolescence, to where you are now. I mean, how do you reflect on that? I mean,
I don't know. To be honest, I have absolutely no idea how I got from there to. I really don't know. It just feels like such a rapid transformation that even I can't keep up. But I'm just so grateful that I'm on this journey. I'm just so grateful that I'm able to share my story and to help and inspire people, because I think there's nothing more fulfilling than helping anyone who's going through what you've been through. Yeah.
So I mean, you talk about inner work to deal with the trauma that you underwent as a child. How does that work exactly? What exactly does that involve on a day-to-day basis?
Right. Okay. So every single day, I would what I was doing was I was meditating every single day, and I was asking myself the two questions: how are you feeling today? Are you okay? And the more I did that, the more I felt like I was getting into the meditative state. So in a way, you don't have to meditate, but it's better if you take out all the distractions, your phones and everything, and just sit by yourself and reflect. And the more deeper you go within, the more stuff will come up. Basically, the stuff that you don't want to heal.
Yeah. Because there's obviously, some people go down a sort of a counselling route, or cognitive behavioural therapy and things like that. Did you ever do any of that? Or
Regularly.
Oh, really?
Counselling, everything. Tried every single thing.
Yeah.
To some extent, it helped, but if I wasn't willing to if I wasn't at that time when I was in that state, I wasn't willing to do the inner work to finally heal past this trauma, because ever since my dad passed away, it was all just go. I have this responsibility, I didn't have time to sit and heal those.
Do you feel it's still work in progress, or do you feel you're healed?
For past 2 years, I think I've been doing intense healing, quite intense, to the point there were days where I was literally crying on the floor, rolling, releasing, but it's that inner knowing that, okay, this is what I'm doing, and I know I'm healing something. And I'm still, it's still to this day, if something happens, we're always going to be healing. So if something happens, I still go through the same process of just taking out distractions, sit by myself, and allow all the emotions and feelings to come up. Whether it's anger, whether it's sadness, or to feel it fully. It's what I say is it's a bit like peeling all the layers on the onion to get to the core, and then once you get to the core, and then you fully release. It's it's just like clearing out that junk. So
how many people do you reckon you've reached in your public speaking now?
Ooh.
Any estimate?
Ooh. Well, I have a YouTube channel, so probably my first talk was but just 1,000 people. But to live, I gave my second live talk. That was the importance of inner healing. That was over 150 people.
What sort of events are you speaking at?
Well, all the personal development events, and I'm gonna be speaking at the awards as well. So any opportunities that's coming, I'm going for it.
No, you bring that up, and it's a timely thing. Tell us a bit about the award, because you've been nominated for quite a prestigious award. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I've been nominated for the Best Female Inspirational Person Award. It's a mouthful, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you're up against some quite tough competition, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know them fully, but yeah, they have quite a few bigger following.
Do you find that daunting, or do you see it as a challenge?
To be honest, I think I'm just enjoying the experience. To be honest, when I found out that I was nominated, I was like, okay, are you sure you got the right person? You know.
Do you know who nominated?
Yeah, it was one of my friends who knows the organizers, and she put my name forward for them to consider me for nominees, and so I spoke to them, and they said, okay, we're gonna put you in the category of inspiration. I was like, oh my god.
So I mean, it's an honour just to be nominated. If you were to win, that would just be amazing.
I know, that would be it would just top it all off. But I think with me, it's all, like I said, it's all about the experience, and I'm just enjoying the experience, and the fact that I'm gonna be going on stage there, giving a live inspirational talk. It's a bonus, you know. And everything in my eyes, no one is more and no one is less. We're all equal, because when I had that experience, I get there was nothing, no ego, no one was higher than you, no one was below you. We were all equal as a soul, on a soul level. And
you reflect on the fact that the dark times that you went through have really shaped the person you are today, and I suppose that's quite an inspiring message, isn't it? Because there might be people listening to this now who are going through similarly dark times. What sort of message of hope can you give people?
Well, the first thing I would say is to when you're going through hard times, just make sure you keep telling yourself that it won't last, and these dark times are gonna make you stronger. And whenever I get through when I'm going through dark times, I celebrate it, because it's making my soul, it's making me expand even more. So what I call is, like, when the more you expand your consciousness, the more growing pains you'll get, right? Yeah. So these dark times are probably the fastest route to growth. So think of it like this, counter those thoughts, oh, I'm going through hell right now, I don't want to do this anymore. Counter it to that these dark times are just the growing pains, and I will come out of it, and I will come out of it stronger on the other side.
Because you must have spoken to people who've contemplated self-harm and worse. I mean, what sort of message can you give to people to let them realise that things do get better? Yeah,
so when you're going through the darkness, you even I was suicidal at that point. So when you're going through darkness, you see nothing but just darkness, right? So what advice I would give them is that they are where they need to be in that very moment in time, even though it's painful, but they are where they need to be. For their growth, you will have to go through it. You know, sometimes it's a little bit harsh to say, but having been through it, they will go through it, and then they will help other people who are going through it. You know,
so it really is almost a sort of collaborative process.
Yeah.
That whatever you've been through, you can then go on to help others.
Yeah. So, but you just keep the faith that keep the faith that everything is in working order, even the darkest times, especially the darkest times.
So it's like it's work in progress, and
Yes.
you've just got to focus on the end goal.
Yeah, you just have to focus on actually not the end goal. You need to focus on the present moment. You know, stay within the present moment and try not to think about the past or the future. Stay in the moment and just go with whatever tools you have in that moment. You don't need to figure out 10 years down the line what you need to do.
It's been absolutely fascinating talking to you, Madia. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. And hopefully we'll have another chat again soon.
For sure. Thank you for having me.